Tuesday, December 23rd. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, Illuminati from Steve Jackson Games.
Let's do this. I'm not going to work, at least until January 5th.
Yeah, it's weird to come home and have Scott already home. Door's still locked because he clearly hasn't gone outside.
Why would I go outside if I didn't have to? Oh, did you bring in the mail? Because I didn't.
You know what? No, I didn't.
Maybe you should. There's probably mail in there. It could be good mail, too. It's holiday time. Maybe there's something awesome out there.
Maybe, if someone went outside, he could get it.
I'm not going outside.
Well,
it's cold.
So what are you going to do when I'm out of town? What are you going to do when you run out of food?
I'm not running out of food, first of all. I got plenty of food.
Food to last until Tuesday?
Don't worry about it. I got it covered.
Don't eat my ramen.
I'm going to eat all your ramen.
All my fancy ramen. I bought the $1.80 ramen from the Yagura Mart.
You're kidding? I'm going to eat the $3 ramen. That's how awesome.
I'm taking it with me, you add. that ramen, I'm looking forward to that.
I'm going to eat it today. You know what? I already ate it.
Oh, did you?
No, I didn't. Anyway, so of course, I'm working on the website. I'm doing all sorts of other stuff.
Working on. When I came home, you were playing Dr. Mario by yourself.
I started playing Dr. Mario 5 minutes before you came home.
That's what I used to tell my mom about
but it was
the realm.
true. But it's true.
Well, see, when I told my mom, it wasn't.
Oh, I know. But
she'd get up in the morning.
Go look at my computer. The VMware is open. This website working.
It's kind of like that old Foxtrot from way back. But my mom would get up in the morning when I was in high school on a weekend or in the summer, and she'd come down and she'd be in the kitchen. She'd see me in the den, and she'd be like, "Up early, eh?" And I'd be like, "Yes, I am up early. I did not, in fact, stay up all night." Wow, I used to stay up all night playing games.
Yeah.
Those were good days.
No, they weren't. They were the worst days.
Those were great.
No.
It's not like I went to school.
So I played some NS today, and there was just one game of NS that was just so great. It was great. I was on the aliens, right? We had 2 hives, but we were having trouble. We couldn't really overpower them, It's like we tried to go into Biodome, no good.
Lately, I've been in a lot of these, not really a full stalemate, but the Marines will get outside. There'll be a 2-hive game. Marines are outside of one of them, and they build sieges. And the aliens respond by having 6 gorges heal the thing.
Yeah.
And the Marines can't quite break through, and it's just a race of who can hold out longer.
Yeah, we couldn't, we had a bunch of res, but they, and we were holding them tight, and, we pushed them back from furnace, and they tried to reach out and get laser drilling. We pushed them back over there.
You know what I learned? If you stand just under, right inside that lava waterfall, and you do it just perfectly, skulks will jump at you and die. Yeah, and fades can't get you.
The lava waterfall is pretty fun. In fact, when we won the map, or was it a previous iteration? I don't know if it was the same game, but when we won, there was a victory jump into the lava.
The last NS game I played, the absolute last one, I was entrusted with the 1 jetpack and the 1 GL. And my job was to go around all the places where gorges were laming it up.
And you flew into the lava? I
was doing fine for 10 minutes. And I was kicking some ass with my jetpack. And the whole time the commander's like, "Rim, I swear to God, if you die." I'm like, "Man, I'm cool. I haven't died in 10 minutes. I'm doing fine." And then an Onos came around the corner and I went, right into that lava.
All right, anyway. So
I quit the game before the commander could yell at me.
So we're trying to we do a hive drop in bio, and it goes down real quick. And we got plenty of res, but it's we can't get in there to drop it. So I go over there as a skulk, and I poke my head. They got one vent is welded up, and I poke my head through one of the vents. Bullets come at me. So I go to another vent. Bullets come at me.
So they got motion. They see your ass.
I go to one of the big open doorways. Bullets come at me. There was no way I could get into bio to drop this hive, right?
Did you have sense? Because you could have done the slow walk, wait,
no,
slow walk, wait.
We had the freaking movement and defense, right? So we actually won before we could put the sense up. So some other people tried to drop the hive. It didn't work. Some other people didn't work, right? So then one guy's like, "AA's down." So I'm like, this is their chance. So I run over to the biodome, right? I'm already kind of close to it because I was skulking around there anyway. And I'm waiting. There's a Marine there. There's no Marines, Gorge. running Hive. It was like, I'm doing it. And everyone's like, oh my God. And then it actually worked. I dropped this Hive, and then immediately, like, the whole team appeared. And it was like, this place was covered with turrets and sieges and all sorts of nasty things that are all mechanical. And within 30 seconds, there were like 10 Bro-Cs, a whole bunch of DCs and MCs, and every mechanical thing was completely gone.
General Beauregard, you are a credit to the service.
Which my Bro-Cs.
Man, NS is making me say bro, a word that I would never use in my real life.
I only use it to say Bro-C.
I will sometimes say brovement, as has been used.
No, that's no good. What kind of chambers you want? We need RTs.
Bronos.
Brono. Okay.
I was eaten by a Bronos.
Yeah, I was too. All right, anyway. That was a good game, man.
That sounds like a good game. That's one of those epic victories.
Especially since I dropped the Hive that did the win. It's like, and I was so nervous. Like, I'm like, oh my God. It worked. Oh my God.
I know that feeling, like when I'm ninjaing a Hive and I'm like alone and I see skulks like spawning, turning into lurks and flying away, not noticing me. And I'm like creeping behind, build the phase gate. I hope no one sees me.
It's like, I'm going to do it. I did it. Oh my God.
I never do it. I pulled it off like once. But speaking of games that we play that are old and awesome, you know, NS is pretty much the #2 game. But you know that Tribes 2 has always had this kind of insurmountable, possibly rose-colored glasses spectacle of amazing history in our view. Like, we look back at this game, and that's like the best game ever made in any genre, any medium ever. Well,
greatest PC FPS.
Yeah, I guess. It's a real good game. As Penny Arcade said, it probably accounts for a third of their total gaming memories.
Yeah, it's also, they made like more comics about that one game probably than any other. Well, maybe WoW they made more comics about.
Yeah, WoW.
But after WoW, Tribes they've made more comics about.
Man. But Amnesia in the forums has done some research, and there's a movement to bring Tribes 2 back, and
it's a very tiny movement. It consists of us.
If you download this file and you put it in your Tribes directory.
Basically, you got to get Tribes 2, which is, I guess, you can get it from torrents or things like that, right?
You know what?
It's legal, though, because they made it free. But
we've got it. Maybe we should just host the executable.
Well, anyway, you get the file.
Put it on Libsyn.
And it's the patched up Tribes 2. And then you install it. And then you put this file in the Tribes 2 folder.
And then you start a LAN. You're like, I want to play LAN single player. And if you go to list of servers, it'll show you pretty much every Tribes 2 server that still exists. And you know what? There are about 70 people playing Tribes 2 regularly, as far as I can tell.
It's not really enough, but it's more than zero.
Half those people are playing on these bullshit mod servers, but half of them, I played the other day 3 full games of Tribes on Katabatic, which is one of my favorite maps. There were 20 people on each team. It was the Tribes that I remember.
Yeah, but while it's the right map, it's not some weird mod map, and it is like a modded rule set. It's not classic mode. It's like version 2 with a lowercase v.
However, the changes, as far as I could tell, were minor. 1, I had a tiny bit more energy than I expected. And 2, the blaster shot twice as fast and bounced more, which made it not the most useless thing in the world.
It's supposed to be useless. That's the point of it.
No, it was interesting having it actually work a little bit. You still can't take out the generators with it, so I don't care.
Nah, the blaster's supposed to be useless.
Anyway, I recommend all of you who are interested in Tribes 2 clicking on this link, doing what it says, and keep playing, and hopefully we'll get critical mass and bring this game back.
Yeah, one thing, though, is the game does feel a little bit dated. I mean, it's like, there's no voice chat built in.
Yeah.
You guys, so everyone's doing the Shazbots and things, which is good, because that's the style of the game.
And when you play, like,
I'm
notice
used
that,
to voice chat.
like, the terrain textures are just these blocky things kind of stretched over these polygons.
But when the game was new, it, like, looked amazing, but now it looks like poop.
When that game was new.
Like NS looks better than that game.
I remember everyone standing around watching, like, the first people who got it at RIT playing it going, holy shit, look at those graphics.
Yeah, now
it's raining?
Like NS,
it's raining!
NS, which is Half-Life 1, looks better than Tribes 2.
However, Tribes 2 still has the fact that it's gigantic.
And it is indeed gigantic.
So Tribes 2 is great, and now you can
I gotta redo all my controls and relearn everything because the game is actually complicated.
Yeah, it's worth it though. So I feel like if nothing else, if you guys just play there and get proficient at the game with what servers there are, we can have some sort of giant FRC like staged event where it's 2 teams that are planned ahead of time and we fight.
Maybe.
It'll take a while to get that thing going, so don't think this is happening tomorrow. But
We just need a lot of people. Just start playing Tribes 2 regularly. Lots of people. And we'll see what happens.
So anyway, you got any gaming news other than the fact that EA games are on Steam?
Yeah. So check this out. This is crazy guy. He's obviously a nut job, and his name is Bob. And he's got a company called Bob's Games. I don't know if that's the name of his company, but he made a game, a DS game called Bob's Game, a game by one person. He's apparently spent 15,000 hours of his life making a DS homebrew game.
Woo!
He's a crazy dude. It's a complete nut job. And you look at his game, and his game looks like the game of a nut job.
Wait, does this... I just got to clarify. Is this the game of a Shiro-style nut job or of a Dwarf Fortress Tarn Adams-style nut job? Like, what kind of dedication
I don't know.
is
Tarn
this?
Adams is a nut job.
Well, not really a nut job, but there's a level of surprising and single-minded dedication.
Yeah, this guy's not. He's a different kind of nut than either of those. But he's a nutty guy. He spent 15,000 hours making a homebrew DS game, and it's a top-down 2D adventure game, and I looked at the video of it that he made, and the game's obviously also nutty, but it's basically like an Earthbound-ish kind of. I'm not too interested in the game. The point is that he made this game. And he wants to, now that the game is finished, like sell it as a real DS game, And even though I have no interest in the game, and I think the guy's a nut, why shouldn't he? I mean, he made a DS game. All he needs is basically Nintendo to give him like this DVD of DS stuffs, and then he can make it a real DS game, and it'll be on the shelf in the store. And if people buy it, he'll make money. I see, and why shouldn't he, right? He should be allowed to do that. So, according to him, right, he met with Nintendo in February to ask for the SDK. He teleconferenced them and flew to the Game Developers Conference and had a face-to-face meeting. He went to the Wario World website, which is, if people don't know, like Wario World is like the name of Nintendo's developer, like division. So if you want to make Nintendo games, you talk to Wario World and they hook you up. He talked to them, and they sent him to the marketing department. I don't know why. That makes no sense to me. He talked to the marketing department, and they, of course, said go to Wario World, which is the correct thing. You go to Wario World, and you buy a dev kit. So he applied at Wario World, filling out the application, and it states that he will receive a decision in 6 to 8 weeks. It has been, according to him, 17 weeks, and he has not received a yes or a no, right? He says he fulfills all the requirements, but actually, if you look at the application, Nintendo he meets all of the objective requirements, but Nintendo sort of puts in some subjective ones in there, so basically they can say no to whoever they want, But they didn't say yes or no to him. I mean, like, if they said no to him, I'd be like, all right, they said no to him. Sure, okay. They didn't say yes or no. So this guy, being a nut job, is barricading himself in a room until...
That is clearly the correct course of action when such an injustice has been put upon you.
I know. He's barricading himself into a room until Nintendo lets him have the stupid dev kit so he can sell his DS game that he spent 15,000 hours of his life making. Now, this really is sort of the same situation that's going on with the iPhone, right? You have a platform, and people want to make software for the platform, but there are some people making decisions as to yes or no, right? This is okay and this is not okay. Now, the problem here is not, I mean, ideally, we would rather have just let anyone make anything they want as opposed to someone saying yes or no.
Yeah,
right?
Now there are two extremes. I mean, on one hand, there's the Nintendo seal of quality, the Apple whatever. But on the other hand, there is the video game crash in the old days caused primarily by the fact that a million non-working, unplayable, amazingly awful Atari games were made, flooding the market and basically destroying video games.
That's true, but look at more recent video game history, right?
Yep.
The PS1, the PS2, the Xbox One, the 360, the GBA, and the DS, all of those systems have had floods of terrible games that were all approved. Seal of approval on those games, officially licensed games, floods of them, floods of terrible games, and it hasn't done any harm, really. You know?
Well, I definitely think that anyone who actually makes the argument that if we let bad games appear on our system, then our system will collapse, that was true a long time ago. I really think it was. But nowadays, with the wide access to development tools and programming tools and game design and publishing and all that stuff, homebrew and, I guess, indie games is really where it's at.
Yeah, and in addition to that, right, you've got, I don't mind if they, like, Nintendo Seal of Quality used to mean we check it for bugs, right? So, like, we don't want you to put any buggy crap on here that's not going to work, you know, because then someone spends $50 in a Nintendo game and it doesn't work. We're not going to let that happen, all right? And the thing is, it doesn't even mean that anymore. I mean, that Zelda game, there was a problem. If you saved in the wrong spot, you were fucked. You're done. You know, and there was that DS bubbly bobbly bust-a-move game where it just couldn't be beaten. It was buggy and crashy all over the place. So even nowadays, it's like if you're going to pick and choose which games you're going to say yes to and which you're going to say no to, then I expect there to not be floods of crap. I expect you to nothing should have a bug on it. Everything should be perfect and nothing should be crappy.
Or in the very least, I would even be okay with them just having a clear, objective list of what will and will not allow a game to be approved. And
instead of it being ambiguous, like you don't know what's going to be improved or not.
And if they gave clear, prompt answers as to yes or no, and if no, then why?
Yeah, I mean, look at the iPhone, right? You have people saying yes or no, right? But there are some things that violate the rules as listed, and there are some things that were rejected without violating any rules, according to some, interpretations of such. And you look at the App Store, floods of crap. Floods and floods of crap. So it's like, what the fuck is going on with these people?
The main thing I want, what really bothers me, is that I look at my DS, and I hardly ever play it anymore, because I've already played, like, every good game that's out there, other than a few that I know are good I just haven't gotten to, but what new great games are coming on the DS in the next, 6 months to a year?
Hopefully something.
Let's see. Chrono Trigger.
I'm still waiting for the fucking Fire Emblem that I think is already out in Japan. Where is it in the US, people?
Or
Fire Emblem DS, step it up.
Another Advance Wars? I've already gotten an S in everything in the current Advance Wars. I need a new Advance Wars. I'll pay a lot of money for it.
I'm waiting for the Fire. I guess Chrono Trigger just came out.
Anyway, there is other gaming news, and I believe we should mention it, being a gaming podcast right now, gaming night show, but EA games on Steam, and I think I can sum that up in a very short and succinct phrase: too little, too late.
Yeah, it's like, Spore was having a lot of the EA games, especially Spore, were getting all this flack for their DRM, right? So they put their PC games on Steam now, but now those games are already old. So it's like, you think that now you put them on Steam, which has DRM that gamers accept and don't care about, that suddenly a bunch more people are going to buy Spore? I mean, I guess some people will buy it, but not, it's not going to, the numbers are not going to look good on EA's end. And I think that they might, either turn around on this or just sort of lazily go about it. But I think if they stick with it, and they put out, like, the next new game on Steam right away, like, when it's brand new, then they'll see the sales on it, and they'll go, oh.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, maybe this is one of those situations where they're doing it people have suggested this on the internet, where, of course, everything is true, that maybe EA is doing this now with the games they're doing, so that when they don't sell well, they can use that as an excuse to say, well, fuck that.
Yeah, maybe.
Companies have done things like that in the past. I don't know if EA... I mean,
you do something that will fail because you want it to fail, and then you point out that it failed, but you set it up to fail, and it wouldn't have failed if you would have done it properly.
Perhaps. I mean, I don't know. I'm not interested in most of the games EA has to offer anyway, so it doesn't really affect me as a gamer. I mean, in the end, I would rather if every game I bought was just on Steam, because for all the problems Steam has, it's basically the Apple iTunes store of gaming, as in it's the best one. It just works. The DRM doesn't really get in your way unless you're doing something stupid.
You don't have to worry about losing your CDs or DVDs or anything like that, or CD keys.
Oh my God.
Every game you have ever is always there, always.
The fact that when I bought my new laptop, I put Steam on it and I just clicked on all the games I own that I also wanted to be on the laptop. And now they're all there and they work.
Yeah, it's like, all these other DRMs, fuck you. You can't install your games on every system. This DRM on the Steam games, you can't give the games to your friends, but you know what? No other limitation on it that gets in your way at all. You can install it on as many systems as you want. And you can play it. It works every time. There's never a situation where you want to play your game and you can't, or you want to install it and you can't. So it's like the DRM's not even there. I mean, even the iTunes store has DRM that gets in your way. I bought 10 Macs. I want to listen to my music on all 10 Macs. Sorry, it's not going to happen. There's like a limit of so many, and it's, you got to rip the DRM out. It's bullshit.
Yep. So we'll see what happens with this. I don't really have any predictions either way. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if anyone even cares about Crysis anymore. Like, do people still play that game?
See, that game, Crysis, like, who actually plays Crysis or cares about it? It's something that just people who like to overclock their PCs get so they can show how many FPSs are there. It's not actually a game people play.
I don't know. Maybe
PC
people
gaming
play it.
history ever since Quake 1 has been filled with plenty of games like that, where the games existed not to be played because they were terrible to play. They just existed to push the video card as hard as possible to show off all the fancy graphics so that Nvidia and ATI could make more money.
But maybe it's not terrible to play. I mean, I haven't played it. I can't say.
And the company that makes the game makes a bunch of money because now everyone who wants to test out their Nvidias and ATIs will buy that game to test it out.
But most of the people who care about overclocking also don't care about pirating.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, I honestly do not know if Crysis was a good game or not.
I played the demo of it, and it was an FPS reshoot shit.
I feel sadly like that's the review I have for a lot of games that have come out in recent memory. It's an FPS.
Yeah. There's nothing special to write home about.
It's no
It's not-
Tribes
if you
2.
want- yeah.
It's no NS.
If you want me to write home about your game, you got to be more than just another FPS. You got to...
writing home is perhaps not the best analogy because I don't think my parents even really understand to this day what kind of games I play. But anyway, things of the day. I got 2 quickies here. Quickie number 1. Voldo and Voldo dressed up as Michael Jackson dancing to Smooth Criminal.
All right.
This was on Kotaku.
Just so people know, Rim plays Valdo.
I hate that fact. It's one of those, it's something that kind of bothers me, but I remember I always played, Siegfried when I played
I've been
Soul
playing
Calibur
Siegfried
games.
since Soul Edge. That's how awesome I am.
But
Well, Siegfried / Nightmare.
I always avoided characters like Voldo. I never liked playing ugly characters. I always play either a Bishonen-y looking guy or a girl. Like in Street Fighter, I always played Chun-Li.
Yeah.
She's not that bad.
I was always M. Bison.
You see, I always avoided M. Bison because it felt cheap.
No, it's not cheap. It's awesome. He's got the slide. He's got the Psycho Crusher.
Oh,
he's got the step on your head move. And in the later ones, he's got the jump up in the air and drop his hand on the back of your head move. Oh, those are good moves.
But anyway, one day...
Plus, when he punches, his fist is on fire. But
One
it's
day-
psychic fire.
When we had Soul Calibur 2 at RIT, we were all playing, passing it around, and I started playing random characters just for fun, and I ended up on Voldo, and I started winning a lot, and I realized over time that I'm naturally good with Voldo. Voldo is my natural Soul Calibur buddy. I feel sick about that fact, but at the same time, I would rather win shamefully than lose. So I always play Voldo now, and I'm really good as Voldo.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Voldo and Michael Jackson seem to have this sort of association in my mind, so when I saw this video, it just fit. I don't know what else I can say.
It's a pretty good video, too.
I'll admit, I started laughing toward the end. It starts getting really crazy.
Yeah, it's like in the beginning, it starts to get a little long in the tooth, but then they sort of do more goods, so...
But number 2, I have to mention this. The World of Warcraft mouse for $100. It comes
Wait, $100 mouse?
$100.
I mean, like for $100, you can get like the best Logitech mouse in the universe.
$100 World of Warcraft mouse.
So
Now,
wait, does it have like? Let me guess. If you just hold down the mouse button, it actually clicks repeatedly for you.
well,
So you can use it for Diablo 2 as well?
Well, it's funny you should ask that, because if you read down at the review, the last positive note here, quote, works like a charm. I'm just going to read this verbatim because this says, more than anything, what it is that I hate about the World of Warcraft.
All right.
After a slight struggle getting my fingers used to the strange button configuration, I found that I could completely change the way I played the game using the WoW Gaming mouse. I was never big on macros previously, but now I cannot imagine living without them, especially on my priest, who can now cast healing on any member of the party with one click of the assigned button. While it is nothing new for players who have already modified the hell out of their UI and set up 200 macros in the game for every possible spell and ability, for a guy like me, who's pretty much relied on the tools Blizzard has given me in the past 4 years, it makes a big difference. If macros make that much of a difference, the game is broken. Oh my god, I'm done. That's all I got to say. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah, I mean, what is a macro? It is a tiny program that, basically allows the user to put in a more simple input in the place of a complex input. And thus, the complex input was simple to begin with, and a computer... I'm not even going to go down this road.
All I want to say is if macros like that are allowed, then why isn't my macro that walks out to the spot and kills monsters for an hour allowed?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Anyway, I don't have anything else to say. I'm not going to rag on WoW anymore. I think everyone knows how I feel about it. Though my boss showed me an interesting article about how IT recruiters, if they will basically tell new people who are getting sent out not to mention that they play WoW, because apparently there's a big backlash among IT hiring.
Well, because originally people were saying yes, but I guess now they're saying no, which is good.
Yeah, I could talk more about that. I'll talk about it on Monday. Anyway.
All right, so here's this cool video. This guy took, I'm doing some Arduino actions, right?
Arduino.
Programmable electronics. I actually soldered the board. It worked really well.
It's pronounced solder.
Not in Australia. And I did a very good job of it.
Nevertheless, it's pronounced.
I did a very good job of it. It actually worked, and I was very proud. But so I'm looking for mostly like simple electronic toys to interface with, because that's how you get started with this action. But also making it fun. And this guy here, he's got 8 R2D2s. Right, that I think these are supposed to be programmable R2D2s. It's like you didn't hack them or anything, and he programmed them all to do a gay dance, and he's got 16 of them lined up, and he has them all do the gay dance simultaneously.
It's beautiful. It's something to behold.
It is a work of art, and I just want to remind you, it's a little Star Wars thing of the day. It is the holiday season. Everyone should remember. I don't know. Are you going to celebrate? I don't know if every geek out there knows this. This is something that everyone should know, but not everyone necessarily knows.
There are only 3 reactions to this, depending on what kind of person you are. Either the, I already know about this reaction, the falling to the ground and into the fetal position reaction, or the there's more Star Wars reaction.
Yeah, if you did not know, I hope most of you know this already. There is and was in the 70s, I think, late 70s. I don't remember the exact year. There was a Star Wars Christmas special. It was the real deal, made by Lucas. All the characters are in it. The Wookiees are in it.
When I worked at IBM, the Unix Santa gave that as a Secret Santa gift on DVD to my boss, my manager. Oh my god. And basically all the nerds in the department go, oh, and she goes, I didn't see this Star Wars movie. Is it any good? And she looks up having no idea.
If you have not seen or heard of the Star Wars Christmas special.
Just so you know, when we got back after New Year, we were sitting in his office talking, and she walked up to the door, threw the DVD at him, and walked away without a word.
You need to see it, because if you are a geek, that is something you need to know about and have seen. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? I don't know if you should see it.
No, you can't call yourself a geek/nerd if you have not known about and seen the Star Wars.
True, but I will warn you.
This is holidays.
It's kind of like no kung fu master can truly call themselves a kung fu master if they didn't spend that month punching that brick or whatever it is that the kung fu people will do.
Exactly what's going on.
Punching that bag of sand, breaking your arm on the whatever.
Yep. That's what you gotta do.
However, breaking your arm on the whatever is what watching the Star Wars. Like, you might think it'll be funny. You might think it'll be ironic.
If you have lots of drugs available.
You might even imagine that you could sit around with your friends and make fun of it.
The thing is, the amount of... I don't do any of the drugs, you know this, but not even the alcohols and the tobaccos.
Scott,
imagine
you had like half a teaspoon of rum once just to see what it tasted like.
It was bad. It tasted like medicine. It was bad. If you want to make, the Star Wars holiday special good by, with some mind-altering substances.
Not LSD, because you'll never recover.
The amount of mind-altering substances you'll have to use in order to make it enjoyable is so great that you will not actually end up watching it. You will end up simply, having your mind occupied by the substances and the
and the wall.
The TV will not come into play at all.
I'll say one thing. If you have not seen it, once you have seen it, the prequels to Star Wars are suddenly Citizen Kane.
You need to know about it and watch it. That's all I'm saying.
Right. So I can't believe we haven't talked about this. It's one of those things where...
Wait, let me check one more time to make sure we didn't talk about it, even though I'm pretty sure we did not.
It's one of those things where we're sitting around, we're like, what are we going to do Tuesday show on? What have you been playing? NS, what have you been playing? Tribes?
Agricola?
Okay. Yeah, great. What are we going to do the freaking show on? And then I'm like, hey, wait a minute. New Year's is coming up. We'll have the annual game of this. Because it can only be played once a year, or you'll never be friends with your friends again. But
that's sort of just a joke. I don't know how true it is. I could actually play this game quite a few times.
I could too, but the game is one of those games where I'll put it this way. If your friend group is on tenuous grounds anyway, or if there are people in your wide group of friends who take games personally, you cannot play this game more than once a year, or you will not be friends with those people.
Even once
again.
a year might be too much. But, for people like us, we could play it more. We just don't.
Yeah, well, we can only play it once a year for other reasons, because the first half of playing the game again is, oh yeah, I remember this game. And the second half is, oh yeah, I remember this game.
If you play it too often, that first half doesn't exist anymore because you remember the game. So the game is Illuminati by Steve Jackson.
In 1981, I believe.
I was -1 years old.
The game didn't actually come out until 1982 in July.
I was 0 years old.
I had been alive for quite some time, for almost 6 months.
In July, you said?
Yes.
So I was 2 and something months old.
I was 6 and something months old, being the elder Geeknights.
Oh no.
The elder Geek Knight.
4 months.
That's a long time.
No, not really.
To a fish fly.
Yeah.
Maybe a moth.
Goldfish.
In dog months. Anyway. Illuminati, the game, is based nominally on the Illuminatus trilogy in terms of style. I'm not going to talk about the Illuminatus trilogy. We're not going to bring that up. That is a show unto itself. I should have made that my book club.
I had to read it.
You've never read it?
No.
It's rambling is one way to put it.
Yeah.
Incoherently hilarious. Awesome. I don't know, but we're not going to talk about it. We're talking about Illuminati, a card game by Steve Jackson and Steve Jackson Games. It is a game that if you consider yourself a gamer and your definition of gaming involves pens, papers, dice, boards, non-computers, you have to have played the Illuminati game at some point.
I mean, if you're one of those people who's playing Munchkin now, you got to realize Illuminati was what Munchkin came out of. I mean,
Illuminati is one of those games where it's not the best game in the world by any stretch, but it has game mechanics that will be novel to the majority of gamers out there.
And also, the cards are humorous.
Yes, you see, there are 2 elements to this game. the theme and style alone, if you have never played the game before, playing it as a group of friends without reading through the cards will provide half the entertainment this game has to offer already.
Yeah, because all the interesting cards that come up, it's like you turn over new cards every turn, and you turn over a new one. You've never seen it before. You go, oh my god, lols.
The first time I turned over the Smoth, and I read what the Smoth was, and I realized that I knew people who were, in fact, that kind of person.
I like the orbital space lasers.
Orbital mind control lasers.
That's right.
Everyone wants to play them. No one ever does because everyone's fighting over them.
That's how it goes.
Illuminati is a game that simulates the Illuminati.
Yeah, it basically simulates a worldwide conspiracy of organizations, you know? You start with this one, every player gets an organization, right? So someone's the Gnomes, someone's the Illuminati, someone's the Network, someone's the Church of the Subgenius.
Now remember, they're all based on quote-unquote real-world Illuminati conspiracy groups.
The Church of the Subgenius is real. The Illuminati is real. The Network is real.
The Gnomes of Zurich are most definitely real.
I mean, I don't know. What part is not real?
Basically, it's a game. You know how Twilight Struggle is a game where what if the kind of doctrine of the Cold War, like the domino theory and all that BS, was true? Like, really real, then this game simulates the real world. The Illuminati game assumes that all the conspiracy theories in the world are real.
Yep.
And they're all competing.
So you start with this one group, right? And there are groups on the board. You know, every card is a group. You know, some group of people on the earth. You might get newspapers. You might get, I don't know, evangelicals, or I try to remember
the mafia,
cards.
punk rockers, psychiatrists.
Oh, you got a list of cards
the
there?
city of New York.
That's good, because I don't remember too many cards.
The KKK, the KGB, girly magazines.
Oh, girly magazine's a great card. So you have all these cards, and you control the cards, right? You take them over. So you got, you know, I'm the Bavarian Illuminati. I take over the girly magazines. Well, now the conspiracy is the girly magazines are actually run by the Bavarian Illuminati. They're infecting the minds of all the perverted men.
But then
with,
you
know,
can use cards to take over other cards, and you'll build this chain where you have cards hanging off of your main Illuminati from other cards.
Yep.
You have this vast conspiracy network.
Yep. So it's like, you know, the Illuminati controls the girly magazines, controls the newspapers, controls the orbital space lasers, you know? So it's like, or orbital mind control lasers. So it's like, oh man, the newspapers are controlling our minds, in, you know, all for the girly magazines, all for the Illuminati. And then you make this web that goes out in different directions of things all linked together. And you try to build a bigger network than the other people. And you also, in addition to building a big network, you attack and defend the other players' networks directly.
Now, here's the meat of this game, because that, you know, that mechanic is in and of itself, not many games have used it effectively. This game actually uses it better than a lot of games has. This game was very revolutionary in a lot of ways. But the meat of the game is that victory conditions are symmetric in one way and asymmetric in another way. There's a base victory condition. If you have X things connected to your thing, at the end of a turn, or at any point, you win immediately, game over.
Yep, your network is this big, depending on the number of players, you win. You have, you know, say 10, you win. Congratulations.
But there are two more important mechanics. Number one, every player has a second victory condition. For example, if I'm the UFOs, well, that's not a good example, actually.
The gnomes is
if
the
the
best
gnomes
example.
ever have a certain amount of money on their home base, totally,
Megabucks.
yes, they win immediately, game over.
So let's say, right, I'm the gnomes. I've got one group, but I've got $1 bajillion. I win.
And that's it, game over.
Game over.
So everyone has these two goals to strive for.
And you only need one of the goals. You can ignore one and go for the other. But really, if you want to achieve your goal, you're going to need more groups to do it, not less. Less groups is not going to help you towards your goal.
Now, here's part number 3, and then pursuant to that, part number 4. Part number 3 is that you can help and hinder other players directly with money and other influence in the course of the game. So say I'm trying to take the robot sea monsters away from our friend Luke.
All right.
And Scott is mad at Luke for whatever reason. And Scott decides that he wants this to happen. I put my money in and I'm making my attack. And we keep going around the table. And people can take turns tossing in money to help either side. So say Scott starts tossing in money to back me because he wants Luke to get fucked so then he can fuck Luke further. But then Pete says, you know what? I don't want Luke to get fucked because that makes Rim and Scott way too powerful. So I'm going to start backing Luke.
Yep. So the way everyone has all this money and you have your money dispersed throughout your network, and if you disperse your money throughout your network properly, it keeps it strong, because money, if you give money to a group, it helps that group out in attack and defense, but you can keep most of your money in the central area where you can sort of spread it around as need be, right? And when you attack, you use money to boost your attacking. And other people, when you attack them, use money to defend. But of course, even if you're not involved in a fight, you can put money in one side or the other. So when someone actually fights someone, or even just tries to pick up a new group off the table, every single person on the board throws money at it to try to make it happen, or just not put any money to let it happen. So you look at the gnomes who can win by having the most money, right? They're real stingy and they try to keep all their money.
But at the same time, they might have to intervene. Say, I'm about to win. I have I need one more control of something and I win. So I attack this low-hanging fruit somewhere. Basically, everyone in the game has to gang up on me or else I win and the game's over.
I'm the gnomes. I don't want to put in that much money. I want to put in just enough to keep him from winning. But everyone knows I'm the gnomes and that I'm hoarding money and that I have the most money and I'm loaded. So they're going to say, I'm not putting anything in. You gnomes, you do it. You got all this money.
While Twilight Struggle was supposed to be a game of brinksmanship, Illuminati is a game of brinksmanship where Scott's about to win and Pete has a lot of money and Emily has a lot of money and I have a lot of money. And I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not putting in shit. Either you guys put up or Pete's just going to win and the game's over.
Yep.
And the brinksmanship gets epic.
But then if it actually comes down to the line and no one else puts the money in, you go, oh, fuck it, I have to put the money in.
Yep. And beyond the people make deals with each other. Tell you what, I'll fuck Pete now, but you have to promise to fuck him next round when he tries this shit again.
Yep. Cheating is also legal.
Well, no, there is the cheating rules and the no cheating rules. Because if you just cheat, it's stupid. But if you play by the cheating rules, there's you're allowed to cheat at certain things, but not at other things, and it makes the game really fun. Of course, it breaks the game, too, if you're good at cheating.
Yeah, and basically the cheating rules are if you get caught, you're fucked, but if you don't get caught, it's okay.
Yeah, but there's certain things you can't cheat at, otherwise it's just stupid.
Yeah.
When you're taking your income, if you just take a bunch of 50s and just hide them in your network, it's stupid.
Yeah, because you keep all your money upside down so no one can see it.
But you don't have to. That's another cool thing about this game. You have the choice always of having your money be open or not open. As in, you can just put it face up on your thing or face down. And you can control the pile and move stuff around.
Yeah, that's right. If you use, for example, a pile of all ones, you can make it look like you have a really big pile.
Unless people are really paying attention.
And if nobody's counting your money, they don't know how much you really got under there. Is it just a big, intimidating pile of ones? I mean, I could put 2 100s and then 10 ones. And so you think I got a lot, but you maybe think I'm hiding it, but actually I have a lot.
But also, money on a thing is worth more in the defense of it than it is if it's from somewhere else. So say I have a thing I really want to keep, or I really don't want anyone to attack it. Maybe I put a bunch of money on it face up. So I got 30 money face up on it. Everyone can look at that and know there's no way in hell they can take it away from me.
Yep, don't even try. Try something else instead.
Yep. But here's the thing that makes this game. This is what makes the game. If multiple people make their victory condition simultaneously, they all win.
Right. So, for example, right, let's say... let's use the gnomes because they're still the easiest example, right? I need one more group and I win. Rim is the gnomes. He is $10 short and he will win, right? I just say, hey, Rim, I'll give you $10. Give me a group. Congratulations, we both win. Ta-da!
Yep.
Everyone else loses.
Now, Scott and I have actually pulled this off together more often than other people because I value...
We go for it.
I'm more willing to be...
It's a lot easier to win in a tie than it is to win alone.
I am more willing to be one of 5 winners against one loser than I am to be one winner by myself.
As long as you're a winner, what does it matter how many other winners there are?
See, but at the same time, betrayal will often happen because it's like, yeah, we'll have soft deals. Like, I'll do this, you do this. Yeah, let's
Well,
go
that's
for
the thing is,
victory.
even though you agree to go in with someone on a tie, right? If the game, just as you play the game, if you pull way ahead of them and they're sort of useless and they can't really help you and you can win without them, you don't keep going for the tie just to give them a win when you don't need them to make the win.
Or at the same time, I mean, I've seen games where the game gets really into the game theory kind of stuff where, you know, Scott's being a dick. And you know what? I'm going to totally betray him because I can pull it off and win anyway. I realize I don't need
the
him.
reason to go in on the tie is to make winning easier, to sort of guarantee the win. But
if I can get
if you
Scott
can
to
win
keep,
on your own, you don't need that shit.
If I can get Scott to keep helping me because he thinks I'm still playing along, but I'm setting up the giant betrayal because I know I can pull it off, then, well, that's great because the victory as opposed to defeat is great. But the sweetest victory in the world is the full-on betrayal victory, where you win alone, having betrayed all in your path.
Yeah, it's really, even though the game's rules, you know, are pretty, you know, and you know, it's the attacking of the groups and the networks of the groups, right? The mechanic of everything is money being spent and everyone can spend money on everything really makes it just like this giant bargaining sort of. It's almost like diplomacy in a way. Just everyone discussing things, everyone arguing, and everyone fighting with each other all the time, and then eventually someone wins.
It's an absolutely fantastic game because it's really, really fun. It's not the most heavy on the strategy and tactics game. There's a lot more second guessing and bluffing, and I guess it's not.
It's mostly social mechanisms that are being exercised.
It's not a good game to play with strangers. I mean, it's a good way to get to know people, but to get the full enjoyment, kind of like Mafia, it's a game where you have to play it with a bunch of people who you all know really, really well, because then all that sort of metagame stuff comes in. And
it's like, oh, I know he's a sap. I'll take advantage of him.
Rim and
he's
Scott teamed up and won the last 3 games. We know what shit they're trying this time.
Yeah, right?
Now, one thing that I will point out, Illuminati is a great game, mostly because of the style and the theme, and just because it's a good game, but Steve Jackson games in general have a history of making good games, and they actually made a game that is very similar to Illuminati, but is more like, I don't know, here's how to take the game that was okay and make it better. It's basically just an incremental improvement of Illuminati. I forgot what it's called. I'm trying to find it on the Wikipedia page right now. It's like the
Mafia one?
Yeah, what's it called?
Is it called Crime Lords?
Yes, Illuminati Crime Lords.
See, I don't know if that's actually, I've never played it, so I don't know if it's actually better, but basically it's an Illuminati-ish game, but it's like there are expansion packs for Illuminati. We just have more cards. Like
Get them all. They just make the game better.
Like that 2K pack. Yeah, they make the game better because there's more cards and it's more interesting and more funny and more varied. But the Crime Lords game is actually a different game that has slightly different rules as far as I know. I've never played it, but supposedly it's just a more modern Illuminati with a crime lord theme on it.
What Steve Jackson said himself when he talked about it at PenguinCon a long time ago was that it basically fixes all the things that were obviously wrong with Illuminati and fiddles with the game mechanics and the balance to just make it a much more solid overall better game, but yet keeping all the fun parts of Illuminati.
All right.
Someday I'll just buy it and we can play it and find out for sure, but I'd recommend checking it out. I definitely recommend one person in your group of friends should own Illuminati. And with us, it's kind of the tradition that every year there'll be the time at which the whole crew gets together. And right around that time is usually the time when the chosen ones will sit down and play a full, no-holds-barred game of Illuminati. Though,
another thing about Illuminati is that when you get the expansion packs, more people can play at once.
Yes.
Which makes it even better.
However, the Dune game might really give Illuminati a run for its money in terms of being their traditional game.
Yeah, it's like the Dune game, Diplomacy, and Illuminati are all actually a lot more similar than their game mechanics would suggest.
Yes.
Because the overriding aspect of players bargaining with each other, arguing with each other and just sort of that whole thing sort of overlays all the other game mechanics. It's just what you're arguing over, and they're actually just argument games and bargaining games and diplomacy games.
That's all I got. It's almost the Xmas, Festivus and such.
It's Festivus today.
Yeah, but I
sadly, I got the poll all set up. I'm about to air the grievances. Rim
What
sucks.
grievances do you have?
You suck.
Because you realize after the airing of grievances are the feats of strength. Mr. Can't do a push-up.
I have a feat of strength ready.
Are you going to roll a d20?
That's right.
I don't think that counts.
It does.
So
You know what the feat of strength was? I set up the poll.
there's going to be no Thursday show. Don't even pretend. And we'll see you guys. We have our epic Bacchanal of Awesome with the Front Row crew.
Well, New Year's is what? Let me look at the calendar here.
We may or may not do shows next week. I'm going to try to record some sort of big epic thing with the crew, but I'm not going to promise anything because that often doesn't come to fruition. This has been Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com, where you'll find show notes, links, our awesome forum, a link to our Frapper map, and links to all the RSS feeds.
We say feeds plural because Geek Nights airs 4 nights a week, covering 4 different brands of geekery. Mondays are science and technology. Tuesdays, we have video games, board games, and RPGs. Wednesdays are anime, manga, comic nights. And Thursdays are the catch-alls for various rants and tomfoolery.
You can send us feedback by email to geeknights@frontrowcrew.com. Or you can send audio feedback via Odeo. Just click the link that says Send Me an Odeo on the right side of our website.
If you like what you hear, you can catch the last 100 episodes in iTunes or in your favorite podcatcher. For the complete archives, visit the website, which has everything.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 2.5 license. This means you can do whatever you want with it as long as you give us credit, don't make money, and share it in kind. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.